Man, ladies and gentlemen, hold on now. Let's take a moment of silence for the case that took 7 years to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Brice Rhodes. Now, if you heard of Darrell Brooks, this is Darrell Brooks reincarnated. Reincarnated, fatter and more out of shape and more bald. We have Mr. Brice Rhodes. Now let us begin this trial. This trial that took a decade to happen. Let's begin this with a word from Mr. Rhodes, just so we can get the idea of who this man is. And on top of that, if you didn't know, he's accused of triple unaliving, as they say on YouTube. But anyways, let's go ahead and listen to the wise words of Mr. Rhodes on, a jail call that we heard in the previous years.
Are subject to recording and may be monitored. You may start your conversation now.
Touchdown, I'm headed to the jeweler, bro. Bands for the ice, talk facts to my jeweler, no. VX pills to my bougie hoes. Rambo Goes Mine, that's a movie, bro. No guns in jail, but these niggas spread to touch me. I'm from 17, but my hoes from different countries. One hoe from Paris, other hoe from Russia. Cozy locked down, call I can touch you. Dishing on the book, pussy boy, use a buster. All my diamonds custom, rats won't be busted. In the out, I'm a cell work. 36 ounces in my cell, that's a jail work. Money over bitches, what I tell jerks. I be pulling with a shark swim. In the foreign gray like shark skin, like Keisha Messi dark skin.
Okay, now if your ears are bleeding right now, that is yours truly. If you feel like you lost a few brain cells and your ears are like probably starting to slightly bleed, mixed with sweat and blood, right? That is the Brice Rhodes effect. Now, this is who the defense is defending. Now, let's go ahead and check this shit out. Before we even go any deeper, there's another exhibit of Mr. Rhodes not freestyling with his top tier NWA level freestyling. Ice Cube level writing. You know what I mean? Your boy is was going places. Let's go ahead and check out what he thinks of the judges who, preside over the case so far.
You show favoritism to the Commonwealth. You denied every motion I've ever filed in this courtroom. I'm still it's my right to file a pro se motion, and it's my right to speak what I need to speak on.
Well,
I don't know if y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on or what y'all got going on, but I'm definitely...
Now, hold on. He just pointed toward his defense. I don't know if y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on. Bro, the ignorance is seeping off of him. He looked like he stink too. I don't know why, but the back of his head, you'll see what I mean, is hideous. It's scary. The back of his head, the back of this dude's head is scary. And it looked like he stink. Anyway.
Commonwealth, you denied every motion I've ever filed in this courtroom. I'm still it's my right to file a pro se motion, and it's my right to speak what I need to speak on.
well,
I don't know if y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on or what y'all got going on, but I'm definitely going to speak my mind.
Detective Detelli and I have no sexual relationship.
Now I'm talking about you and the prosecutor over there, sir.
All right.
You denied all my motions. Every motion I filed, you didn't deny it.
I'm pretty sure I've denied the vast
Every
majority
motion I
of pro
filed?
se motions that have ever been
Are you some
filed.
type of... Are y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on?
And that, even defense is like, hey, buddy, you probably want to chill the fuck out because you're making this whole defensive table look like a clown show. Like, that is crazy. You're over here. I don't know if he thinks screaming out the R word is gonna like dismiss his entire trial, but trust me, bro, if there's anything like that happening, they would just find another judge. You're not going nowhere. We're just gonna recycle you in the system until we find the one that sends you to jail forever. In this case, maybe capital punishment.
Which one is it?
Or are you just wrong in everything that you've made a motion for?
Are you a secret clan member?
Wow.
No, sir, I'm
Is that
not.
what you really are?
Nope,
Okay.
I'm not.
But like I said, the higher courts, they'll deal with it when time comes necessary.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
And
So say less.
Yeah, exactly. So say less. That's a person who, that's a person who knows he's going to jail. I promise you that. Acting out, going crazy. I feel like in the back of his mind, he's like, maybe something will happen to where I get out of this. Like he said, the higher courts will have final say so. Judge was like, you're absolutely right. So say less. Like in the back of his head, he's hoping and praying something pulls through. But guess what? It's not. It's not. Bro is going to jail. But anyways, people, that's the catch up. That's pretty much the catch up you guys need. You know, took out 3 people, you know, out of here. Took one out in the middle of the street while the 2 of them were with him as witnesses. Later on, they get into an argument. He takes out the other 2. Now, keep in mind, he had 2 accomplices as well. So it's Rhodes, the 2 kids he took out of here, the 2 kids he pretty much, you know, killed. And then there's 2 other ones that he didn't, and he forced them to help. So he has a whole little group of little young ones that he's mentoring, basically. So let's go ahead and check this out. Day 1, ladies and gentlemen, day 1.
Good afternoon, officer. Can you state your name for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Officer Thomas Franklin,
And Officer Franklin, where are you employed?
Louisville Metro Police Department.
How long have you been with the police department?
Roughly 10.5 years.
And were you with the police department when this case occurred back on the 2nd day of May of 2016?
Yes.
And how did you come to be involved in the case?
At the time, I was a patrol officer in the 1st Division on a late watch, and I heard a shot fired while I was at roughly 28 in Broadway. Started going towards, and then was later updated that there was a shooting that had taken place with the victim, and therefore continued that direction.
Man, we're starting this whole case fucking hot. Like, straight out the bag, the officer is just minding his own business down 200 Broadway. Here's a gunshot. And this is where I want to point out that I think Rhodes and his unshaped head, bro, his head is a thing to behold, guys. When I tell you, look at the back of this man's head and it will scare you more than his face. I saw in my other comments in the last video, oh, he scares me. Listen, sweetheart, look at the back of this man's head. You'll get even scarier than that. It'll scare you even further. It'll give you fucking nightmares. I'm still thinking about it. I wish I never saw it. But anyways, he's trying to show off for these kids. You're going to tell me you shoot this guy in the middle of, like, where police obviously are lurking just to shoot him for like, he said that he thought there was like a price on his head or something. So for a little bit of money from somebody who you don't even know, like, come on now. Shows his idiot levels at that point already.
So you actually heard the gunshot yourself, and then you became aware that
Yes, sir.
it was fired. And have you had an opportunity to review your body cam from that evening?
Yes, sir.
And did it fairly and accurately reflect the events as they unfolded?
Yes, sir.
Move to admit and publish officer's body cam. It's actually going to be Commonwealth 6. I'll have 5 photos.
Thank you. So admitted.
So we got body cam already. Looks like he's sirened up, not playing, flooring it. There's a couple police officers out here already. He got his lights on. At that point, I'm assuming Rhodes is gone. Damn, if you notice, there's the guy right there on the road, right there on the side of the road. It's grainy and fuzzy, but if you look to the left, boom, right there. Right there. Hit. Crazy. Then, of course, they zoom out because I guess it gets graphic.
Eric, over there by that sidewalk, please. Okay. Hey, buddy, can you hear me? Can you hear me? We'll get to you in a second, all right? Hey, where you shot at? Where you shot? Oh, here we go. Right here. Yeah, I got it. Stay with me, all right?
You have to imagine that this is some traumatic shit as an officer to come up to this type of thing every day, and it's not natural to ask somebody where you're shot at. Like, damn. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shit. And as a jury to come in here and have to just subject yourself to watch this shit, and I know it must be pretty tough. But, I mean, you know, obviously for the greater good, you just got to suck it up, people. You got to deal with it. You got to do it.
Died, abdomen. 112 back goes to the abdomen. He's breathing. He's not conscious or alert right now. Hey, buddy, what's your name? Hey, buddy. What's your name, man? Talk to him. Can you hear me? He's not really responding to anything. Oh, here we go. Hey, you're good. You're good. You're good, buddy. Be still, man. Be still. Be still. EMS is here. Can you hear my boy?
Man, they try to wake him up, then all of a sudden they're like, no, be still, stay still, be still. You should, like, I don't know. I guess you're trying to keep him alert but not make him hurt himself. But, like, damn, bro. But from the sounds of it, he's not, you know, he's not really responsive right now.
Can you hear me?
All of this because Rhodes wanted to look cool in front of those kids. I promise you. He wanted cool points. I know they said it's because he recognized the guy. He thought it was such and such a guy, but it didn't turn out to be that person. Nah. He wanted to impress the fucking teenagers because he has no life. That's what really happened.
What's your name? Got a wallet back here. He's moving his arm, but it's not like he's just responding to us. It's right underneath this. I don't see an exit wound. Yeah, there's one patient over here. Right here. No, it's over here by EMS. Don't worry about it. You guys are fine. Yeah, only seen one. Right here underneath my arm. Yep. No, he's not responding to us. He's moving his arm though a little bit. He may have another shot right here. Yep, right there in the arm. Another one. You're fine. This one's a throw through. It looks like it went through this into him. Oh, I got it. You're fine.
Damn. And these guys, they're not paramedics or nothing. You know, he was like, it looks like it went through this into him. Like, damn. You know what I mean? It's tough. And they can't really do anything for you until the ambulance gets there.
Is that a night you remember pretty well? Safe to say.
Yes, sir.
Can you walk the jury through what do you do once you get the call? What steps do you follow?
This one, again, I was in the parking lot at 28 and Broadway, and actually heard the shot and started going that direction. At which time it's updated to a shooting with somebody that's been struck. I'm a 1st Division officer that borders the 2nd Division. The actual location was in the 2nd Division. However, because of short bodies, people already on runs and things of that nature, I decided to continue to go anyways because I had determined based off what dispatch had been saying and whether people had been responding, I would still have been closer to help provide aid and continue to go in that direction. So I continued going, observed EMS in the area beforehand, and notified radio that they were staging.
And I don't think I asked you. Do you remember what time it was that the call came out?
It was after midnight. We work 7 to 7 at that time, I believe, but 12-hour shifts. So it was after midnight, but not too early in the morning.
So, yeah, again, he's doing a 12-hour shift. It's after midnight. And you mean to tell me there's some grown-ass man who does rap videos? It's always the little wannabe rappers, bro. Always the wannabe rappers. Anyway, riding around with 4 teenagers, with 4 kids. Yeah, you already know he's the athlete who the only thing he ever did in his life was compete in high school. And he's telling all the little high school kids and all this shit and hanging out with the young kids. That's who Rhodes is in terms of the music industry. Never did shit, never gonna do shit, and trying to influence these kids for what? What kind of knowledge you gonna give them? You know what I mean? riding around past midnight, bro. If you don't get your ass inside the house,
Said it was a minute to 1. Would you believe me?
Yes, sir.
So you pull in. We saw how fast your cruiser was going. You see somebody down. What's the next thing you're doing there at the scene?
Next thing I did is I grabbed a roll gauze, medical supplies from glove box. Show up on scene. There was another officer there, and put on PPE, gloves. Then immediately went into trying to address wound, figure out where the wound was. Obviously, this is our victim here that we're attempting to help, and located the abdomen wound, which at the time putting pressure on was the best option based off my experience and training and everything that I've encountered up to that point in time in my career. Again, en route, I'd seen EMS, so I knew they were close by, and just take care of the scene as far as making sure that it's safe for them to get there with their higher level of medical expertise.
And may I approach your honor?
You may.
Are you familiar with these photos?
Yes, sir.
And they all fairly and accurately represent what they purport to be.
Yes.
Why don't you walk the jury through what these are photos of? This is the first picture was a driver's license. Why is that significant?
It was driver's license that was in the wallet that was located in Mr. Jones's pocket. He had longer hair that night than the picture.
And then we have a picture here of this intersection.
Yes. That's the location, roughly close.
And there's a picture of the numbers on this pole. Why is that significant?
I did not take those pictures. We've used the numbers on the pole for years. LG&E uses them at specific geographical and longitude, latitude locations. We've used them for our traffic accidents when reporting locations for traffic accidents in the past. But again, that picture I did not take. So.
And then this is Commonwealth's Exhibit 5. This is that same pole behind the car. Okay.
I'm sorry, did you answer?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes, that's the vehicle from where the back bumper for Mr. Jones was at.
Focus just a little bit better. But what is this picture of?
That's the location that we found him.
And there's items that are in the road.
Yes, as
it's a really shitty picture, but it's just a recap of the things that they found. They found the ID on the man. This is a picture of him pulling up to the road. You know what I mean? There's items all over that shit. So basically, he was probably carrying something, got shot. I think they said they shot him through the arm and it hit him in the abdomen. You know what I mean? So it's like bad luck, man. It could have been an arm wound, and it would have been the end of that. You know, Rhodes would have went to jail for attempted, and it would have been the end of the story. But bad luck, man. Got hit. Dropped shit all over the road. It was just a bad situation from the start.
the body camera to render medical aid. Some clothing items were cut off, taken off to better allow the medical crew to address the wounds.
And that's what we saw happening in the video.
Yes, sir.
And then I want to show you this final picture here. There are yellow cones, numbered cones on the scene. What's the significance of that?
I did not place those cones. That would probably be a question for a detective. In the past, cones have been used to mark key pieces of evidence or things that they want specifically documented.
Things that you've identified as significant on the scene.
Yes, sir.
And
That's interesting. He asked him about the cones and he did not know. And he said that's something you want to ask a detective. Do you think the defense is ready? You guys hit me in the comments about this video. And sorry again if the audio is a little bit low. I'm going to make sure the audio is top quality as much as possible. But you guys let me know. Do you think defense is ready? That was an unexpected response from me. I thought you would know if he knew. Like, why ask the question if he did not know? You know? Come on, defense. I'm not defense now. Prosecution got to step it up. Let me know if you guys think prosecution is ready for this case, because if we see this guy walk free over some bullshit, that's gonna be insane. But I'm not gonna talk bad about the prosecution yet, but that's a little weird.
So how long was it from the time that you showed up on the scene to the time that the victim was taken away in an ambulance?
The perception of time in instances like that, it seems like it could take a long time or a short time. Everyone's is different. For me, again, it's documented on the video. I would better reference that video to answer that question.
And then, did you do anything else of significance at the scene?
After I was done helping with aid and EMS was there, at that point in time, as a patrol officer, understanding this is now a crime scene, depending on what has already been done, crime scene tape was already in the process of being put up, at which point I went and people had started to gather and come outside because of the commotion and the lights and the sirens, and therefore just tried to identify anybody that may or may not have been around or seen or heard or anything like that, and try and get information on them to better identify them for a detective to follow up with.
Thank you, and please answer any questions for the defense.
Yeah, so that was basically it, man. That was his pass through. You know, nothing crazy. Helped the guy. Guy didn't make it, you know, obviously, and tried to do crowd control. But the craziest part is that, you know, this whole thing just turned into a crime scene. I don't think he was caught immediately. They got away for that night. So you already know, the car full of the boys, adrenaline running, all that shit. They're probably talking shit like, wow, this guy's he's really about that shit. He doesn't just rap about it. He's really about that shit, Billy. Yeah, no, you got yourself wrapped up with the wrong person.
Officer Franklin, I believe you told us that you are part of the 1st Division. Does that just refer to the area that you patrol?
Yes.
It's not a ranking of any sort? Okay, so you're a 1st Division officer on patrol that night?
Yes, that night I was.
Yes. And you testified that you were the 1st officer on scene that night?
One of the first officers on scene. The body camera video will show, again, going from 1st Division to 2nd Division, I'm not as familiar with all the streets. I was able to see another officer in front of me turn down the block, and then that's when the video kicked on, turn down the other block, and then come to the location.
So you were the 1st or maybe the 2nd officer on scene?
I'd say so, yes.
And when you arrived, however, you were not the 1st person on scene, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Because EMS was already there.
No, EMS was not there. I would say there were other people, obviously bystanders. I had at one point in time told to, go back, sidewalk, and we'll come talk to you.
So when you arrive, EMS is not currently there.
As far as first responders go, I was, for the video showed, the 2nd officer there.
But there are other people who are not involved in law enforcement or first responders at all, correct?
They were already there as I was approaching.
And when you arrived, let me go back. You testified that you heard a single gunshot?
Yes, I heard a gunshot.
Just one single gunshot?
Yes.
Not 5 gunshots?
I heard a gunshot.
And you found a single bullet casing?
There was a casing near, and because of rendering medical aid, at one point in time it was moved. However, I made a point of it further on in the video to identify that was it, and we still had it located.
So I mean, and how bad of a like hitman are you? You take the shot, you do all your thing, and you leave the whole bullet casing behind. It's like, okay, like honestly, I don't even know what the defense is here to do. Like, what are you guys gonna say? It probably wasn't him because you didn't see him at the very moment. Like, come on, they have witnesses they're about to come like interview. They have people who turned against Rhodes who's gonna actually talk against him. Actually, let me segue over. One of the accomplices, one of the kids, this is what he says. Look at what one of the kids says against him. Do you think, like, what is the defense's whole plan when you have something like this? Check this shit out.
He made Maurice on his knees and like beg for forgiveness. And like he put a toboggan over his head and he put a rag in his mouth. And then he put the toboggan over his head. He put the toboggan over his head and put the sock in his mouth. And like started too.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I mean, with testimonies like that, I really don't see what defense has to say. Like, just let bro go to jail. That's pretty much point blank period.
I moved it. I bumped into another officer, or EMS did, at that point in time. In our chain of importance, rendering medical attention is more important than that.
So I think you said your first, was it fair to say your first priority in responding is to preserve life, if it's possible to do so? And then the next priority might be preserving the scene.
Yes.
So your first priority when arriving was to render as much aid as you could.
Yes. When safe to do so. Again, you have to have the scene safe. Only 2 officers, 1 person, you're kind of delegating, playing off each other as far as tasks. 1 person is security. You still don't know is the individual who shot the area, etc. So going into medical aid, I had the gauze. I remember to grab it when I was getting out of the car.
The casing that was found, that was put into evidence and preserved.
I was not part of that process.
But Brice's fingerprints were not ever found on that shelf, correct?
Excuse me?
Brice's fingerprints were not found on that casing.
It's not part of that process.
He's like, hey, bro, listen, man. Listen, I'm just a beat cop. All the detective shit, ask a detective. I'm out here collecting the evidence and controlling the crowd. That's above my pay grade. No, I feel him, though. I don't know why prosecution and defense are asking them these detective-like questions.
After the scene was secure, you interacted with some of the bystanders
Yes.
to try and see if anyone had seen what had happened.
Yes.
And one of the bystanders was Keith Taylor.
Yes.
And did you speak with him?
I did.
I don't have no further questions at this time.
I mean, that was all the questions for this time. Defense made zero sense to me. I mean, they just asked them a bunch of questions. They're like, was there anybody there? The only thing that stood out to me was they asked, was there anybody there before you got there? And then he kept kind of going around the question, well, you know, another officer got there around the same time, this and that. But I think they're trying to point out that bystanders were around before officers got there, a good while before officers got there. Where they're going with it, I have no idea. But anyways, people, that's the Brice Rhodes case so far. Man, we're about to dig in. We're on the surface right now. We're just scratching the surface of his picky, bald, nasty ass head. But we're gonna get up in there. We're gonna get to the cause of this shit. But anyways, people, I love you guys, man. Stay inside, stay safe. I hope you guys enjoy the ride. Look out for the Brooks videos. Look out for the Bradley Yon videos. Of course, those are coming as usual. I'll see you in the next one, people. I'm out of here.